Hi, today I'm going to take you to my favorite place, which is Melukote. It is filled with prominent temples, and this is going to be one religious ride with me. Melukote is where Sri Ramanujacharya lived for nearly 12 years. After he arrived from SriRangam, he settled in Melukote and he helped in spreading Vaishnavism around this region. And he miraculously cures King Vishnuvardhan's daughter, and from then on he becomes a revered personality in the area. And Hoysala King also converts himself into a strong Vaishnavite. So, in today's episode, we will be seeing a lot about the temples he established and the story behind him. The first temple I'm going to visit today is Yoga Narasimha Temple. But before that, like any other Hindu temples and according to the Hindu rituals, we would go to the temple tank, cleanse ourselves before entering into the sacred place. So this is the Kalyani Pushkarani found right opposite the Yoga Narasimha Temple, which is down the hill. You can find this Pushkarani. And it is also said that Ramanujacharya found the main deity residing in the Cheluva Narayana Temple, which is called Narayanan, around this Pushkarani. So there was an anthill and Narayanan appears in his dream and says, "I am hidden somewhere in this jungle, come and rescue me." And this whole hill is known as Yadugiri Hill. It's also called Yadavdiri in some of the scriptures, but Yadugiri Hill is where the Yoga Narasimha Temple is. And from here he finds the deity and establishes the temple. I've also seen Melukote in a lot of movies, and Rajnikanth considers it as his lucky charm. So you can see almost at least one scene shot in Melukote in all of his movies if you pay a close attention. The pillars are marked with stories from mythology. You can see very well by looking at the sculptures. My eyes go directly to the Yoga Narasimha Temple that you can see atop the hill. That's where I'm going to hike next. Yoga Narasimha Temple requires a small hike. The steps are not so difficult and it is not very steep, but it's a considerable, let's say 20 to 30 minutes of a hike. And if you have a vehicle, you can actually go almost towards half of the hill. There is a path further that takes you half of the hill and then you can join the steps. This is actually my fourth time and I still had no idea that this car can get over to half the hill. I'm climbing from the bottom. Come, let's go up. I started the hike by around 9 and there was hardly anybody hiking along with me. And the temple also opened only by 9:30. I'm not sure if it was because of COVID restrictions they were opening so late, but the priest was also climbing along with me. Have to watch out for the monkeys. They were pulling anything from the flower and the head to their puja plates, so be wary of it. By 9:20 I was before the door and it was still closed. It was opened only at 9:30, and we were some of the first few to get darshan of Lord Narasimha. This is the main deity. It's a WhatsApp forward that I'm using. Photography is not allowed. The views from the temple are amazing, and this is pretty much what I love on my solo travels. Some amount of peace, serenity, chill wind, beautiful views, the temple bells ringing in the background, and look at this post-monsoon greenery. I was just blown away. Below the hill is the Cheluva Narayana Temple, and it gets the name based on the deity that is taken for procession. So any Hindu temple will have a main deity in the sanctum sanctorum and another bronze or a different metal made of an idol that goes on procession. And it's called Chella Pillai or Cheluva Narayana, meaning my dear Lord, my dear beloved Narayanan. And it's because once when the Sultan came and plundered the region, he took away this Narayanan Murti along with him. And Ramanujar gets a vision that this idol is in Delhi. And he goes to procure the idol from the Delhi, and he realizes that the king's daughter is playing with this idol like her doll. So he asks her to return it, and she says, I cannot give back my Chella Pillai, I'll come along with the Chella Pillai. So they both come to Melkote, and in Melkote you can see the deity that is taken for procession, as well as the main murti that we just saw a while back, and that was also a WhatsApp forward that I have used. Photography is not allowed inside. Put away your cameras and pray religiously. Outside, the corridors are beautiful, the pillars are beautiful, and this is where you can shoot to your heart's content and enjoy the architecture. Considering this is a Vaishnavite temple, you can see a lot of stories on Ramayana and from the Krishna Puranam. You can see life of Rama as well as Krishna on these pillars. What is extremely beautiful about these pillars are these chain links or the gaps you can see in these pillars. It seems to be the uniqueness of the pillars you can see in Melukote. So there's a central pillar running, and there are links or gap between the inside and the outside pillar. I really don't know how they managed to carve this, because these are not structural elements. The outside one is not structural elements that is interlocked. I don't know how they have carved this, but it was beyond amazing to see. I came across an interesting collection of Saligramam stones here, and some would just call it fossils, but for Vaishnavites it's an important thing. You can see the Vishnu's conch and chakras carved on these stones. It is very precious and people do puja with it. I was very amazed to see a huge collection that is present in some of the shrines. Once you're done with temples, there are a lot of interesting things to do around Melkote. One such is this Akka Thangi Kulam, which literally means elder sister, younger sister. The beauty of these ponds are one is salty and one is not drinkable one. So how does it happen being adjacent ponds? Nobody knows. Next stop is another famous movie shooting area called Raya Gopuram. This place also you have seen in a lot of movies. This is an unfinished Gopuram. What were they trying to achieve and why have they stopped? We don't know. But look at the massive structure that goes on either side. This would have been a very massive Gopuram if it was completed. Even this structure, it is said that it was done overnight. So to believe that they were able to achieve these carvings and all these things overnight is mind-blowing. I don't know how much of it to believe, but considering the workmanship that yesteryears had, it's quite possible. That's me posing in front of Raya Gopuram, but not just me, look at this. After this I stopped for lunch at Subanna Mess. Subanna Mess is a very famous point in Melukote, especially for their puliyogare and sakra pongal. So I went there for my afternoon meals and I did not miss having the yummy puliyogare and sakra pongal also along with it. And I packed the puliyogare paste from their mess. I go to Melukote hoping to have this yummy puliyogare. Further, a good drive of 5 km away from Raya Gopuram is Dhanushkoti. It needs a little bit of climb. It is said that Rama and Sita were walking around this forest and Sita felt thirsty and Rama put an arrow into the hill and perennial water source appeared. It's not a tough climb and the views from here is as well splendid. From here I proceeded to Thondanoor. Thondanoor is where Ramanujar actually lived. So you pass through small villages and it is not very far from Melkote, just about 20-30 kilometers, and there are few prominent places here as well, so I urge you all to visit. Nambi Narayanan Temple. So this is how the temple looked when I visited in 2014, and look what a fabulous job ASI has done here. I was really happy to see this temple has been renovated so well by Archaeological Survey of India. So this is one of the other prominent temple that Ramanujacharya built, and these are special temples where he himself has established the main deity. So I was very keen to visit the temple. Thankfully the shrine was open, I had a good darshan. Not many sculptures here, but it is also a pretty good temple with a big complex. There is an inner corridor and there is an outer corridor. It is that big. Right opposite the Nambi Narayana is the Gopala Krishnan temple. For some reason, ASI has not yet taken up the job of renovating this temple, though it is right opposite to it. It was quite disheartening to see this temple not being maintained well. I'm not sure why exactly the work has not yet started, but between 2014 and now, I could see a lot of paintings and sculptures have gone. It was quite disheartening. It has this quite unique painting of black sculpture, elegant on walls, but it's all gone and there is no restoration effort happening, and I hope somebody who sees this video at least raises this issue and helps restoring this thing. Now that I was done visiting all the temples, I decided to relax for some time at Thonnur Lake. Thondanoor is now also called as Thonnur Lake. So Thonnur Lake is really huge. A lot of people consider it as a picnic spot. You can always see people coming over here for a bath or to perform last religious rites for the departed soul. So there are a couple of tea shops and a small temple, but it's always flocked with people. But you can find your quiet corner because it is really huge. I prefer coming here in the evening, much calmer and much chiller. Don't do this, okay? Don't go to the place and draw your love stories. With that, my trip came to an end, and Melkote can be reached through Hassan Highway as well as Mysore Mandya Road. Hassan Highway is a little extra kilometers, but it's very beautiful and scenic drive, so I always vote for the Hassan Highway. Lastly, please don't forget to subscribe.